From JA to UK to LA and everywhere else now, this is a podcast strictly influenced by Jamaican music, brought to you by Eric Kohler and Junor Francis. Well, if you're driving in your car or you're sitting home alone, the Junior entertain you on his microphone. History of LA Ska. Yeah, hear stories from a guest while we all have a blast. From LA to Jamaica, it's in the podcast. The history of LA Ska. Of LA Ska, yeah. It's the history. Yes, it is. Of LA Ska. History of LA Ska, yeah. It's the history. Yes, it is. Of LA Ska. Of LA Ska. It's the history of LA Ska. One more time, yeah. It's the history of LA Ska.
Yes, indeed. Welcome to the History of LA Ska one-on-one sessions. I'm Junor Francis, along with my good friend Eric Kohler, as usual, for this episode. This series celebrates the ska, rocksteady, and vintage reggae scene in Southern California and beyond through insightful conversations with legends and modern-day talent, including those behind the scene. So I want to thank all the people who have worked tirelessly behind the scene. So therefore, whether you listen to us, this podcast series, or watch us on YouTube, thank you for your support. Let me respectfully remind you to subscribe and tell as many friends, not just one friend, but as many friends as you possibly can about this series. On this brilliant episode, we welcome two members of Orange County ska pop punk band, if I'm saying it right, ska punk, and if I'm excluding or including too many things, ska pop punk, right? Ska pop punk.
Sure.
Yeah,
I like that. I like that.
I've been
I think
around
it's accurate.
all right,
Nice.
about approximately 2 decades from the research that I've done.
Yes.
And
We're getting there.
Singer Tara Hahn, this is re-entry, your second time on the program.
Indeed.
Yes.
And Max Beckman, your first time.
My first time. Thanks for having us. Thanks for having me.
Wonderful.
Welcome and congratulations on everything, all the buzz and all the people talking about 2:30. I know that you all put in a lot of work, and we're excited to have you both with us. And again, as Junor mentioned, Tara, welcome back. And
Yeah, thank you. I'm excited to be back. I love
Yes.
getting to talk to you guys. So.
yeah, so you were here. I checked back. You were here in October of 2021, episode 27. So for anyone who wants to check that out, you were alongside our mutual good friend Chuck Wren of Jump Up Records. That
Yes.
was a fun interview as we were still during COVID.
Yes. And they hard to eat up.
Right.
COVID.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Indeed. So let's dive in.
Good. What's your role with your first question?
So let's talk about signing with Bad Time Records. How and when, first of all, congratulations.
Thank you.
How and when did that marriage come about, and what does it mean to you both?
We've been kind of pursuing Bad Time Records since 2020 because it seemed like someplace that for our style of like ska music, ska punk music, it's where we really wanted to be. And we liked the community that they had, and we liked just kind of like their ethos and like all that stuff. So yeah, getting to actually be on Bad Time Records, well, I think it's like a dream for us. And so it was really nice for them to sort of recognize our work, because I don't think that when we started pursuing Bad Time Records that we were necessarily the material that they normally would release, because they kind of have a lot of edgier stuff, and Half Past Two is not known for our edginess. So a lot of people used to say that we were kind of like bubblegum, like Orange County ska music, so and we liked that, so yeah, we kind of had to do a little bit of work to make ourselves appealing to Bad Time. So when Mike from Bad Time sort of accepted us onto the label, we were really excited. That was really cool.
So when you say pursuing, in the olden days, right, bands would send demo tapes, would send little bios, little care packages to the labels, listen, and hope and pray that label would listen, right, and take notice. Clearly, I don't believe that was approach, right? Because you all did some touring with them. So
we've done
a little bit more about the pursuing part of this.
Yeah, well, we've done a lot of stuff like with other bands on Bad Time, and we are friends with a lot of people on that are on the label, that work with the label and stuff. And so we did sort of have a rapport, I guess, like with everybody on that label or that associated with that label. But like I said, I really don't think that necessarily our music like at the time had fit. So we did send our record to the label, with a nice letter saying, please listen to our record and everything. And to our surprise, to our chagrin, we thought that it would take Mike from Bad Time maybe a week to get back to us. It took him a few hours. He said, I listened to the first 3 or 4 songs and it's a no-brainer. Like, let's figure this out. Let's do this together. So yeah, it still was like a sort of traditional thing, even though a lot of people said Half Past Two is kind of like the cousin of like Bad Time Records, or like they said we were honorary members of that label of Bad Time Records.
Yeah.
But now we're the real deal.
They're based right here in Southern California?
No bad.
They used to be based, it's just one person really. It's just Mike.
But that's all it takes.
Yeah, and it's kind of like Chuck, like there's Chuck,
right?
But at Bad Time, it's Mike. So Mike used to be based in Alameda, which is in like sort of central, like San Francisco area, California. And recently this year, he just moved back to the East Coast. So now they're sort of based on the East Coast, but it was West Coast, now East Coast based.
Right. So Max, what was how did you, what was your reaction or your feeling overall about Bad Time?
It's definitely where we wanted to be. Our old guitar player Cameron, he had a message conversation with Mike in like 2019 because Cameron used to book shows and he booked Mike's band Kill Lincoln. And so he had a conversation with Mike back then about Half Past Two being on Bad Time, and Mike said, he recognized that we were good and we were really hard workers, but he wasn't sure that it was the right style for the label. And to be fair, like the label was only a year old at that point.
Oh, okay.
And we hadn't, and in that conversation, it's not like we pitched a specific thing. It was more just of a general conversation about it. And then when we were preparing the self-titled record, we were considering submitting to Bad Time, but Chuck and Scott and Phil from Scott Punk Daily came along and they wanted to put the record. So we're like, let's do it. They were pursuing us, so let's go for that. And then we had that experience. I was like, okay, we really want to be on Bad Time, so that's what we're going to shoot for. And I felt very confident with the record we put together, and I was pretty confident that Mike would say yes until we actually sent it, and then I started to worry, and my anxiety started taking over, and just being like, wait, what if he doesn't? Like, what if he doesn't? But then, he texted us back pretty quickly.
He didn't make us wait. Yeah,
he didn't make us wait. So, which was nice. And then it was such a good feeling that it's like one of those things where you're so happy that you don't really know how to act. It's just like, oh, okay, well, it happened. All right, cool. We're doing it.
We built it up thinking like it was going to be, a lot harder than it was. I mean, it was hard. Obviously, we put a lot of work. We put in a lot of work like to the album.
You mentioned pursuing label and putting in a lot of work. So last week I was in conversation with Steady 45, and they have a new album out, and they have little to no interest in pursuing any label. They're doing it themselves. And they're confident that they can do just as good a job as
as a label.
Yeah, yeah. They're confident. They move multiple number pieces in Europe during the tour, and that's how they go forward. So why you guys took that approach?
we've been a band for a very long time,
All
and
right.
we've not really had
almost drinking age.
yes, like we're approaching 20. I mean, we're approaching 19, I guess. And
Yes.
so, you know, we've done it alone for a very long time.
Oh, okay. You've done
and
that.
yeah, we've done it alone for a very long time. We've
Okay.
pressed our own records, we've sold our own records, you know, we've done all these things. And yeah, like when we kind of got a taste of it with Chuck, you know what I mean? Because we weren't on Jump Up Records, but Chuck was very happy to like help us in any way he could. And so we wanted to see what it would be like to be on a label. And like I was saying before, Bad Time has this community that was very appealing, and like it just made us want to be a part of it. And I was just really, and all of our friends were on the label. I was so curious to see what it would be like to have a label experience. But I mean, Steady 45s, so much respect. I love Steady 45s. I have been to so many of their shows, and I'm a fan. I believe them. They could definitely do all of that on their own. I think we could do it on our own too, but I just wanted to see what it would be like to be part of something.
Yeah, I was just kind of surprised that it just seemed to be no desire, no wish to anyone. We're doing it.
Yeah.
But again, you've been down
respect.
That road.
Right.
Yeah, respect.
Yeah.
So let's dive a little deeper now on your album Talk is Cheap, right, which features 12 songs.
It's Talk is Killing Me. Just
sorry, Talk is Killing Me.
Talk is Cheap as the Toasters.
Talk is Killing Me. Yes, that's so weird. I don't know where I got that. Apologies. We'll edit this in post. But so the musical styles somewhat range a little bit more in on this album in some ways, right? From ska to pop rock to even some reggae. The songwriting, the musicianship, the production also seems to be a little more mature sounding, so to speak, than your previous bodies of work. A, do you think those are some fair observations? And B, what all would you credit that to? I know that you worked with Reed from We Are the Union on this album, and I know that and hearing some of your previous interviews, you've talked about this, but I find this fascinating and insightful. So if you two can just kind of elaborate on the new album.
Yeah, I mean, I think yes, all those observations are fair. I think it came from both our desire to try something new, like we're saying before, like we've been a band for a long time. We've released a lot of songs. Like I think we have like 70 songs on Spotify or something like that. We've done a lot, and we've kind of worked with the same team. Like we've done everything before that we did with David Irish at Pot of Gold Recording. Sometimes with other people producing, like Aaron Barrett from Real Big Fish produced our first couple releases. And we did still work with Dave on this. Like Dave is a very important part of the Half Past Two family, and he co-produced and engineered a lot of this record. But working with Reed, what made the big difference is Reed wasn't just a producer; she was a co-writer on the entire thing. So Reed and I were at every single anything that was happening with their album ever. Reed and I were there, and then other people would come in and do their thing. So it was built from the ground up with the collaboration. The collaboration built the entire thing from the ground up. We didn't come with. I mean, sometimes we came with some songs or like kernels of songs, but we built them up together. A lot of the stuff we just came up on the spot in the room. We pick a chord progression or whatever, and just like let's just start riffing and figure stuff out. And that's how we built the entire album from the ground up. And because Reed was not only co-writing, but she was the producer, she had in mind what she wanted to do with these songs on the production side once we got to that point. So it was a very different experience from anything we've done before, where typically we would come in with finished songs, and there would be some, Dave as a producer would make suggestions and we'd make changes here and there, but it's totally different to create the songs from the ground up with the producer. Because then there's time. I made a decision in for myself at the beginning, like I'm gonna put all my trust in Reed. And if I'm not feeling certain about something and she says it's good and it's gonna be good, I'm just gonna trust her and we're gonna go down this process because this is what we've decided to do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So Tara, you mentioned or maybe somebody mentioned about 70 recordings. Approximately how many full-length albums for the record?
This is our third full length, but what I consider to be a full length. Spotify says it's our fourth, but it counts one that I consider to be an EP. It only has 7 songs, so technically.
Why so in 2 decades?
Well, we've done multiple EPs and a lot of singles. There was also like a dark period for the band where there wasn't a lot of activity and there was drama and stuff like that. But we've been
money. We were children,
and
Excuse me, Orange County money. Oh,
not everyone's rich here.
We were children, basically, and a ska band has we had in our history, we've had 8 to 10 people in the band at a time, so it's like what the priority would be just other things, but I mean, we made certain things happen. Also there was a time where I just felt like a lot of people in our area, maybe specifically, they didn't want albums. They were listening to singles and stuff like that. So we were just releasing music. We didn't, like I said, we didn't have a label. We had no one to answer to. So we were just doing it however we felt. Whatever we felt like was a good idea, that's what we were doing.
I think it merits expression congratulations for staying together for this many years.
Absolutely. Tara, to talk about meeting Reed. So when did that come about?
We've been adjacent to Reed for a long time because Watu, or We Are the Union, Reed's band, has been a ska punk pop band, just as long as we have. And I saw Reed one time in the studio. She was using Pot of Gold where we usually record, and I was super starstruck. I was like, oh my gosh, I would love to work with Reed. And there a few years ago, I had sort of a break and I wanted to quit. I wanted to quit music altogether. And one of the things that I told Max and my bandmate David, who has been here since the beginning, one of the things I told them when they said, what can we do to make you stay, was I had a list, sort of a bucket list. I was like, if I'm going to stay in this band that I've been in for all these years, here are the things that we have not done.
Pot of Gold.
Yeah, here's some things that I want to do, but if I'm gonna stay. And one of them was to work with Reed as our producer and make a new album. So that's kind of, we had covered We Are the Union song as a funny joke because we were going on tour with them, and that Reed had heard it and said oh, I do want to work with Half Past Two. I think there's some potential there. So when we called her up and said, hey, do you want to do an album with us? She was 100% on board. It wasn't hard at all to get her to say yes. So that was nice.
She didn't know that she was on your list, on your short list of demands.
No, I think I told her pretty early on, because if you listen to this album compared to our old stuff, like you said, there's a lot of darker tones and stuff like that. And that was something that came up when I was talking to Reed about this album, was that, I had all these feelings about music and being in a band, and they weren't very good feelings, and that I wanted to quit. And she said, well, let's write an album about it, or let's write about it. And so that's kind of why the album, I feel took this darker tone, because I was in a darker place, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm not really that kind of person. That's when you listen to our older stuff, it's kind of what you would normally think about from an Orange County ska band, because that's how we grew up. That's the music we listened to. And yeah, so when we did this one, we tried to still stay true to like our sound. I would still say people would classify us as like that Orange County ska sound. But yeah, like you said earlier, it's a little more mature. It's moodier,
So in retrospect, any regret about that list?
I have no regrets about the list, because you know why? On this day where I stand, with the help of my bandmates, with the help of Max, Reed, David, everybody, we have crossed off everything on my list. I wanted to work with Reed. I wanted to write a new album I was proud of. I wanted to be on Bad Time Records, and I wanted to tour, and we're doing all those things.
Yes.
So,
and so nothing on your list was harm or danger to come to any of your bandmates. Unreasonable.
Maybe ex-bandmates.
Yeah. Well, that was one of the things that happened, was that, like, we're a ska band, so there's a lot of people in the band, and we had sort of a mass exodus at one point
as a result of the list.
No, before the
preceding
list.
the list,
Yeah, preceding the list, and that's why I made the list, because everybody left, and I was so depressed about it. I was just like, I don't think I can keep going, because when you've been in a band for so long, you see the highs, you see the lows, and I was just feeling a very deep low, because I had never seen so many people leave at one time, and I'm like, can I keep doing this? Can we pick up all these pieces and like keep going? I don't know. And so that's why I was like, maybe this is it. Maybe this is where we close the doors. but then Max and David were like, wait, hold on. Pump the brakes. But there's got to be something we can do to make you stay. And so this album is a product of
you
that.
mentioned this, you have a copy you can show?
A copy of the record?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't.
Vicinity?
I have it in the other
I'll
room.
get it. I'll get one. You keep talking.
Makes sense. Mm-hmm.
I was gonna redeem
and
myself here.
you have to pay for this commercial.
I was gonna redeem myself at least show on Spotify.
Oh yeah, you do have it on Spotify. There you go. You have it. Yeah, I have it, but it's in the other room.
Rock is killing me.
You're redeemed.
Name of the album.
You are redeemed.
Bad time record.
Yes.
While Max grabs the prop, you all have done and continue to do, and you've done this for since I first discovered you, which was just prior to well, I was gonna say just prior to COVID, but maybe a little bit before that even. But
there it is.
There's the record.
Look at that, the physical vinyl. I love that.
Yes. What variant is that one?
This is the bone white. It's on my turntable right now. So.
Oh darn! I like the purple one. Yeah, there's a few different variants of that one.
Oh, nice. So, what my question is, you all have done such an amazing job of helping get the word out through interviews and talking with people. Are you happy with fan response and the critics' response, so to speak?
Yeah, I am very happy with the fan response, and we've gotten so many new listeners, and it's really neat to hear, like, especially since these songs are a little different for us. They're a lot more personal for me. To have people like tell me what the songs mean to them and stuff. That's really neat. That's really cool. And then we've played a few shows now after the record came out, and there's so many new faces that I'm just like, who? Like, it's so that is really cool.
So noticeably new fans.
Yeah, noticeably new, because a lot of them are young. They're they're young. They're showing up to shows with they're dragging their parents along with them, because that was one of the things I was telling Max. I'm like, there's so many people that are just standing there, and it didn't feel like the same sort of ska show because there wasn't a lot of dancing. But I noticed that all the people that are just standing there are also with a teenager, and I'm like, I have a feeling that this teenager was like, Mom and Dad, I really need to go to this show, and they're like, okay, well, I'm not gonna let you go alone, type of thing, and drag their parent along with them, because
we don't know what ska.
Yeah, the teenagers know all the words. They're singing and stuff, and the parents are just standing
incredible.
there.
That's
it's really nice.
That's what it
Yeah, I
takes.
mean,
So why is this particular record reaching so many young folks?
Honestly, I do think it has something to do with it being on Bad Time. A lot of the fans of Bad Time tend to skew like younger than our normal audience.
It's working out.
Yeah, it is. It's working out. Like I said, like I was so enthralled by Bad Time because yeah, there was all these new ska listeners, and I think being from LA and Orange County, I'm just used to like people my age or a little bit older because this is where ska had such a big presence, like in the 90s, like the late night,
Yeah.
throughout the 90s. And so those are the people that still I see at shows.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, now I'm seeing all these much younger people at shows, and
where are the places you've seen these younger people?
You mean
Maybe highlight
besides?
one or two places, huh?
Yeah, like when we go out and we like even when we play outside of Orange County,
So I'm asking where?
Okay, right.
Just for the record.
Oh, just anywhere. Like in San Francisco, there's a whole new audience of people. I mean, we don't normally tour, so everybody we see is like new to us. But where I'm seeing younger people is like when we were in the Midwest, a little bit, even though that our record hadn't come out then, or this last tour we did in the Northeast, it was a lot of younger people and stuff like that. Because the other thing that's really important to us is that our shows are all ages, and I don't think that happens all the time. So I think that's maybe why we sometimes see a lot more younger people. Also, I always encourage people to bring younger people. I some people don't like that. I think I got into that with Dave from Mustard Plug because he was like, I don't like seeing kids at shows. I don't like seeing
and I
younger
don't
people
like
at
shows
shows.
without kids, to be
There we
frank.
go. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm always like, I love it.
Bring the kids so we can bring them over.
No, and it's important to
absolutely.
and that's not the scene
Right.
Yeah, we gotta keep all this stuff going. Like you need I got really into ska when I was like 14, like 15.
I was 12
in high school.
and 13. Yeah.
I knew what it was a little bit before that because where we went to high school, Los Alamitos High School, is where Real Big Fish came from, and RX Bandits and Monique
from St.
went there. So when I was in middle school, when I was in middle school, my best friend's older sister was at Los Al, and she was dating one of the original sax players for RX Bandits, who were still Pharmaceutical Bandits at the time, and she took us to see them in the gym at Los Al because they were all still in high school. And I remember that I couldn't really appreciate it that much at the time because I wasn't super aware of what was going on, but I remember it. I can picture it in my mind. I remember being there. So it's a cool memory I have. And then it was a few years later when I was in high school, actually David, who's our bandmate, he's the real reason that I got super into ska, because he was really into ska and he started a band in high school called Free Jeff. And I was like, oh, this is that ska thing. Oh, there's Real Big Fish. And then I was like, that's it. I know this is who I am.
That was how many years after?
That was probably 3 or 4 years after I saw the Pharmaceutical Bandits in the gym, that I was in high school and just like, I was in marching bands, ska is big in marching band because that's you get all your horn players from. And
right.
So I was like, all right, this is it. Like, I like ska. I'm into ska. This is it for life. Like,
yeah, I mean, this band started when we were in high school too. That's why it's like been around so long.
You came in when you were about 13, 14, right? From what I've read.
Who, me?
Yes, Tara.
Yeah, yeah. I started going to shows when I was like 12 or 13. I had an aunt that was like, she was only a few years older than me. I was in middle school, she was in high school, and it was like the late 90s in Orange County. So this is what she was doing. She was going to ska shows. And so she would take me to like all ages ska shows all the time on the weekends and stuff. And I just thought it was so cool. I thought everybody was so cool. And I maybe moved away from it when I was in high school. But then we started the band, our name 2:30 is like the time that we got out of school and stuff. It's so wholesome and terrible.
That's where the name came from.
Yeah, it's so terrible. It's so wholesome and terrible.
It's on my list of questions to ask.
Yeah. and here we are. I always tell people, like, be careful what you name your band, your high school band, because it will follow you. It could follow you into the dark. Like, you could be 20 years later and still have that name. So yeah, I think it's important for young people to like the music and like feel inspired by or listen to the music. Yeah.
Well, Tara, since you're still talking, Half Past Two has turned out some fun and creative music videos over the years. How do you typically approach this, meaning the video? What kind of thought process goes into making the video?
Well, in the beginning, I mean, I personally have an obsession with music videos because I grew up in a time where music videos were like king.
Yeah, when we were in high school, it was like watching Total Request Live on MTV. It was like you had
after school, you came home and that's when you like turned on the TV.
Yep.
So I love
get
music
home quick and watch that every day.
I love music videos, and so you know, in the beginning, whenever we had a single, I would tell Max, like, I don't care how good or bad the video is, like every single needs a video. That was just like a standard that I had. And then like there was no real approach. It was just like, who can make a music video, you know? We had friends that would do it. My now husband, like, he's made so many like videos for us over the years, but for this record we stuck with one person to make all the videos because we wanted like everything to sort of have a vision. And so we used our friend Ray Mystic, that does a lot of like our photography. They did all the artwork on the album, all the covers, and that's why I really wanted them to do the videos, because I wanted the aesthetic to sort of match. Like I said, we were trying new things with this record, and Ray has a very extravagant imagination, so we did have a little input, but Ray had a lot of say over what was going to happen in these videos. And I think it worked out great. Like, they look really, really nice, and they're very pleasant to look at. And some of them have a story. Actually, all of them have a sort of thread that goes through them, so that like if you watch them back to back, like you'll see like a longer story. But individually, each one is very unique, and we had a lot of fun shooting everything. We had Dominoes, the first single, everything was shot underwater.
Yeah.
That was different and that was hard, but in the end everything turned out really nice. So, and then we had like a dance number in the second video that was
I had to learn choreography, which I had never done before. So we had a whole, thankfully it was only upper body choreography. If it was everything, I don't think we could have pulled it off. But
and then the last single, Curse the Universe, it was just Ray just telling like all of us to play over and over and over again constantly at full energy for, you know, like an hour and a half. I was so tired by the end, but it all looks very nice and it's very well coordinated. So yeah, that was sort of the method to the madness for this album and the videos.
So 3 videos for this album. How many music videos prior to this album exist? Like official?
It's like over 20, I think. We've done a lot
official music videos. Yeah,
and that doesn't even include how many like acoustic cover videos we've done, and we've been known, not as much anymore, not as much now, but we've been known to do a lot of video content in our day.
And what's the average length that it takes to actually shoot the video?
I would say a day of shooting usually.
It depends, because a lot of it is dependent on me. Some of the videos are like just me, and I'll say that like those videos feel like they take sometimes even longer because it's easy to, you know, stretch one person's time when they're all 8 of us are there and everybody's like, I'm hungry, I need to go to the I need to go to the bathroom, I'm tired or whatever. Then like it gets shorter and shorter. But
your bandmates, they don't mind?
No,
I don't think they mind. And the other thing too is like, if you look at the the years that this band has been active, a
19
lot
going
of
on
the
20.
a lot of the videos, like it had to just be me. We had a lot of videos come out during like the pandemic, and like we couldn't meet up for videos.
Right.
So
Right.
there's a lot of them like that. But I mean, we do have a lot of videos with everybody in them.
Yeah, we've
And
done a
usually
lot of
it's-
different styles and stuff. So
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
super impressive, and you all should be very proud.
thank you.
Encourage everyone to check out all the creative videos. So
Brilliant. So, Max, you've performed with numerous top-name bands in the ska scene over the last couple of years, including Mustard Plug, Bucko Nine, the Toasters, Mad Caddy, the Acrobats, and more. Can you please share some highlights?
Yeah, I would say specifically last year we got to do two support slots at the House of Blues Anaheim. One was the Aquabats that you mentioned, and the other one was in February of 23, and then in November of 23 we opened for Save Ferris, and that venue is just like, it's like the biggest club venue in Orange County,
Right.
and just being on that stage for like a sold out show is crazy. Like it's like we've played for a lot of people because we've done some festivals and stuff, but playing to a lot of people at a festival is a lot different because it's outside and they could be, drinking beer or whatever, but when there's like 1,800 2,000 people like in that room, it's a totally different thing, and it's hard to describe like how electrifying it is.
And it's also homecoming for you guys, right?
Yeah, it's also so the old House of Blues Anaheim, it was half the size. That's like, but that's the more nostalgic venue for me, because that's where I saw a lot of big shows when I was in high school, and we played there a number of times too. We opened, the first time we ever played there was we opened for Real Big Fish in 2008, and that was like one of the best nights of my life. Like, it was crazy because we hadn't done anything close to that big before, and that was a huge show. But I do like the new House of Blues too. It's just it's different because now it's like this. It's cool, but I kind of miss like the nostalgia of the old one at the same time. But yeah, those were definite highlights. And then honestly, the Mustard Plug ones, because it was a tour. Like, it was our first time flying out somewhere and doing a tour. We'd flown out to do Supernova, but it's like a festival, and that was great. It was an awesome experience. But then going out and doing the Mustard Plug and the Toasters, 4 shows in the Midwest,
and their record release too.
And it was their record release. They wanted us to be there for their record release tour, and that was very special also. And even though like the venues aren't as big, that doesn't really necessarily matter. It's special.
oh,
He froze.
Yeah.
well, he was talking about how special. Share a couple of special memories or.
I was gonna say the Mustard Plug tour was really special. Like he was saying, it was their record release, so a lot of their fans came out for that, and so since we don't normally tour, it was kind of cool to be in these venues that are like sold out. I mean, not for us, but like a lot of people came up to us afterward saying, I've never even heard of you guys, and I really loved you. And so that was a good feeling. And then we've done so many things with Toasters that it was just so funny because we played some new songs and Bucket was like, she's so into the new stuff, and I was just like, what about I've been on tour with you so many times, like, Bucket, you didn't like anything before? No. So those were all really special times too. Supernova was the super highlight for me because it kind of like the tour bug sort of like bit me, where I was like, I don't know how we're gonna do this, but like I want to do this. Because playing for other people in a faraway place was just so appealing. And Supernova is a very friendly and welcoming place. And we're going back there.
Yeah.
I know you are too, Junior. Yep, you're MC. I was telling Tim, I'm like, you got the best MC like in the United
Indeed.
States of America. Yes.
I would agree.
Thanks,
I'm
thanks.
I was so excited because I actually help with the social media stuff on their
Yeah.
Instagram. And so yeah, when I'm learning all this stuff, I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. So yeah, Supernova is a super special experience. I love that they bring like bands from like all over, all these different decades, all different styles, and expose everybody to all kinds of ska, soul, reggae, you know,
It's
music.
their 10th anniversary.
Yes, and it is their
Yes,
10th
it's
anniversary.
2014.
I think it's gonna be really special. So that's a highlight for me too. But you know, a lot of the things that Max said, I still think about all the time that we got to spend with Real Big Fish when we were like tots, you know, like literal, like some of us couldn't even drink, and like Real Big Fish is taking us out. We're from Orange County, like that was like pretty tippy top, you know what I mean? We're like, oh my gosh, Real Big Fish cares about us. And then yeah, Save Ferris, growing up was my absolute favorite band. So when we got to open for Monique and Save Ferris in November, this last November, I shed tears because I was just like, this is happening. Yeah.
So you mentioned don't tour often. Why is that so? Is that by choice?
I mentioned what?
You don't tour very often. Is that
I mean, like I was saying before, it's expensive to be in a band, and there are a lot of us in a ska band. And it just didn't seem realistic, you know, to tour. So we just didn't.
So essentially, from an economic standpoint, it's not feasible to tour.
It wasn't feasible. It just like, you know, we have a hard time paying for like normal things like studio time and band practice, and you know, all of us are like, now we're older and we have families, you know, so that's hard too, to get our families on board. Like, hey, we're all gonna load up in a van together and like leave you, you know. But everybody recently, everybody that's in the band now, and you know, me, Max, our families, David and his family, everybody's been super supportive, which is you know, that's the important part, is if you have that support, then you can do anything. Sky's the limit. And Max sort of like helped prioritize that. He really is the one that's making it happen, because he pays for a lot of that stuff for us to be able to do that.
Here he comes, Max.
Here comes the man.
He's experiencing some technical difficulties.
There he is. He's back.
I'm back. Sorry about that.
No, all good. All good.
We're just talking about touring, and I was just saying how it wouldn't be possible without you anyway. So
yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah.
I mean, touring. I didn't think it would be possible for us to do longer tours, and we still haven't done like a really long tour. We're about to be going out. I don't know if Tara said it. We're about to be gone for 11 days. It's 8 shows, but it's like an 11-day trip, and that's the longest trip I've ever been on, just period, in my life. Not just touring. Like, well, you know, maybe I've been on a trip that's at that long, but not in a very long time. And like, I own my own business, so that's stressful. And but I have people that know what they're doing. I do still have to work from the road and all that, but I feel like it's good to be. We're at a place where we can actually do it now, and I think it's also going to get easier. It's already getting easier with experience, honestly. And we've only done it a couple of times. Like I am learning more about the better ways to plan and what to do and what not to do. And I think things are going to just keep going more and more smoothly.
And we have a booking agent now, so that makes it easier.
Yeah, honestly, that's like the biggest thing. Our booking agent, like he makes it like he does like the hard work. So
No, that's cute. Yeah, Junior and I were
Where-
going to ask the same question.
Where are some of the interesting landscapes you'll be covering in the next tour for 11 days?
yeah, so we are starting off close to home in San Diego.
Yes.
And then we're off to Phoenix, Arizona. Well, actually Mesa, but the Phoenix area. And then we're hitting in Texas, San Antonio, Dallas, and Austin. Then we head up to Lincoln, Nebraska. And
Nebraska?
then,
What?
yeah.
You didn't know,
Where is that? Yeah, okay.
Thanks, yeah, to Nebraska. That's
Yeah,
right.
there's Scott on the name, but
Yeah.
like that's all I know
You
about
gotta
Nebraska.
go.
I
And
think.
do you have the date so we can because when this is
Yes.
people will
Yeah, it starts June 14th. So June 14th in San Diego, the 15th in Phoenix, and then the 17th, 18th, and 19th are the Texas states, the 21st in Lincoln, the 22nd in Ogden, Utah, which is outside of Salt Lake City, and then the last one is the 22nd
In
in
Colorado,
Denver.
right?
In Denver. No, sorry, Ogden's the last one. Denver's first. I always get that confused. It's Colorado, then whatever.
It's a
that
Southwest
weekend.
tour, and that's where we're going.
Southwest
And
tour.
then in July, we're going all the way up to Seattle, and then going
and
down
Salem,
to
Oregon.
Salem and Oregon, and then to
you
Sacramento.
guys are doing
so.
wonderful.
And
Congratulations.
are these
Thank you.
all headline half past two?
Yes, they're all on our back. I'm
All
scared.
except one of them. Our Salem show where it's a mini festival called MIGFest, and Bad Cop is the headliner for that one. But we're really excited to play with them. I love that band.
No, that's amazing. That's exciting.
And then Supernova. Yep.
Yes, yeah, we were talking a little bit about
It's
that.
all exciting times.
So speaking of Supernova, that was a question later on, but let's stay with this because it is such an important festival. Tara, you played there. You joined Rude Girl Review. Excuse me, a couple years ago, right, on stage.
Yeah, that was 2021. It was the first time they'd ever performed. They had just formed for the 2021 Supernova. So, yeah.
And has Half Past Two played before?
Yeah, we played
played that,
at
yeah.
the 2021 Supernova as well. And that's kind of why I got to do Rude Girl Review, was because
You were already there. Got it.
yeah,
right.
that's kind of Rude Girl Review's like mission is like to unite us
Right.
girls, us women, us femmes in ska. And so any band that had a female or femme in the band, they reached out to us, and it was fun. We had all these like meetings beforehand, and I was really far away, so I didn't get to go any to the rehearsals or anything, but yeah, they're very organized. They're so organized, and it's a really fun experience. And I hope they ask me back this year.
We didn't ask you, but let's put it out there. It would be amazing to have you back.
Yeah.
So since you all have been around for, let's call it 19 years as a band, you've seen and you've done a little bit of touring, and you've definitely played with other bands as we touched on as well. But compare and contrast what you have seen so far, about the scenes here in SoCal with some of the other ones that you've experienced.
I don't like this question. I would say that the LA Ska scene is so strong. They are so amazing. Everything that you all have going on up in LA, that's where it's at. That is where it's at. And Orange County, we have some room for improvement. It used to be a very happening place for ska punk music. But I would say in recent years, I don't know, ever since the pandemic times, it just hasn't really come back. Like, we have shows here and there, but there's not a lot of new bands and stuff like that. And now that we've gone out and we have seen the East Coast, we just played Fest, or This Is Not Croydon Fest in Philadelphia.
Salem, but yeah.
Yeah, Ben Salem, sorry. And it was just they have so much, people are loving it. There's all these festivals and stuff on the East Coast that I'm like, we don't have anything like that back at home. Like, I don't understand why we don't, because everybody to the world, like Southern California has like a very strong like ska, presence and stuff. But I just see it all in LA, honestly. And like I love it when the LA bands come down into Orange County, like, Steady 45s just had that thing in Santa Ana, and that's great, but yeah, I don't know. I think that Orange County, like I said, there's some room for improvement there.
All right. You're putting the
I think it's just not as many shows happening because our old guitar player Cameron, he used to run Pocket Entertainment, and they booked shows all the time. Like, he booked so many shows, and him and his now wife Whitney, they ran the whole thing, and they put so much work into building up a scene. And then the pandemic happened, and after that they kind of like didn't really want to do it as much anymore because they were just kind of burnt out. And then so now it's just not as many shows happening. So if and me and Tara ourselves have started to try to book shows too, but then we got really busy with our own stuff. So
it was ambitious because we were like, oh, we can do this, and I'm like, wait a minute, we don't have any time. Like, when are we supposed to do this?
But I will, I just went to a show last Saturday in Huntington Beach. It was a free show with the Ska Originals, Hooray for Our Side, and Stupid Flanders, and it was a really good time. There was a bunch of people there. They were having a good time. It was a good turnout. I mean, it was a free show at a sports bar, so there's like on a Saturday night. So yeah, there's a little built-in audience too, and it's easier to get people out to a free show. Obviously, nothing against the bands, like still like a great show. I'm not trying to like put the show down or whatever. And there's a Mad Caddies are playing at House of Blues this week, and they're turned that into like a little mini festival where it's both stages. So things are still happening. I think I hope that me and Tara find time to do more shows later, and I hope other people
or
also,
somebody, yeah,
or like somebody like, yeah. We definitely can't do it on our own.
Yeah.
And there are other people booking shows. And I just hope that there's just more people that start booking shows so that we can have.
I hope that there's newer bands too.
Yeah, new bands too. Yeah.
There's that's the other thing is like there are a handful of bands that will play, but it's just like, I mean, it's the same like 7 of us in rotation. So it would be nice if there were some like newer bands. But like I said, I'm seeing younger people at shows all the time. So I'm just like,
here we go.
One of them the inspiration needs to strike.
Yeah, I think part of the problem is that the schools are not teaching music. I could be wrong, but that's my speculation.
Yeah, it could be that too. I mean, my kids are like getting interested in like playing music and stuff. And I always joke with them. I'm like, you could start a band. They're like 5 and like 8. I'm like, you should start a band with your friends, But yeah.
But you mentioned no festivals. I think the no value isn't quite the same as I think it's the basis and can lay the phone work for festivals in the West Coast. I think it's going to continue. You know more about it.
Right.
The big
I think that's also like a little bit of a bigger festival, and there's like the This Is Not Croydon Fest that we played, and then there's this weekend there's the Ska Punk International SPI Fest in New York or something, and they're a little bit more like mid-level. So there's it's like a different beast. Like we always talk about, there's people that go to concerts and there's people that go to shows, and there's overlap, but some people just go to concerts and they don't go to shows.
Mentioned that. What's the difference? I never looked at it like that. What exactly?
I think it's more of like a size thing. Like a concert is like, House of Blues and bigger, or like the Observatory, but a show is like Chain Reaction or the Locker Room at the Garden Amp. It's like 400 people, smaller shows, 100 people, 200 people. It's a different vibe, and I think like This Is Not Croydon Fest, I think the cap was 600 people. So it's not a giant festival with huge. I mean, Suicide Machines and Voodoo Glow Skulls were headliners. So there's big headliners, but they're not giant headliners. They're
yeah, like No Values is a lot of like nostalgia too. Like I know a lot of people that are coming for like the nostalgia, you know what I mean?
They're coming from every continent.
Yeah, I think that like we had a good thing going with Back to the Beach. Like I thought Back to the Beach was a really cool thing.
Yeah.
And then that didn't really work out. We had this 2 good years though.
Or even the brouhaha that you all played, right?
Yeah, but they did Bruce Scott Scott for 2 years, and we got to play that. And then they just, I think, changed it back to regular brouhaha.
yeah, they changed it back. Yeah,
that was a solid lineup.
Yeah, those were fun.
Yeah. So, I think like it would be nice to see more stuff like that, because I have flown out to the East Coast for shows just because I'm like, yeah, just to watch. I've been doing that a lot lately. Because I want to experience it, and I feel like I don't have that here at home. So yeah, I know that the mentality is really like, if you build it, they will come, right? But like I can't do it. So I hope there's somebody else out there around here that's like inspired to do some like ska.
Considering we're just 3 years away from the pandemic, I think a lot of things are going to be happening. Again, more value. I think this is a kickoff.
Yeah. I think that's a good one too.
Tara, did you go to these shows as the ska secretary?
A lot of people know about the Scotch secretary.
I'm pointing to Mr.
Stranger Kohler.
You were very sweet. You did a very fun and informative little video for us.
Yes.
Whole show.
People do call out the Scotch secretary.
He's coming back in August.
Oh yay! Awesome.
Yes.
We might have to lean into your services again.
Well, either way, I'll be there. So,
this is a question for both of you. Who you haven't performed alongside yet?
Who haven't we?
Minus Prince Buster and Bob. that you really and truly want to.
You can
they don't exist anymore. We didn't hit it, but I really wanted to play with the Boss Tones, but that can't happen anymore. Right. I would really like to play with 5 Iron Frenzy. They're one of my favorite bands.
They're playing at Supernova.
Yeah, we're playing Supernova, so we're kind of playing together. But I want to play like a real show with them. We have played with Less Than Jake. Yeah, I don't know. We've been lucky. Like we've got to open for the Selector. We've got to open for the English Beat and Bad Manners.
Not Madness though.
Not Madness, and Specials can't happen anymore. So we almost filled our 2-tone bingo card, but we didn't quite get there. We played with the Aggrolites multiple times, so that's been awesome. Yeah, we're pretty fortunate. Like there's not a lot left on my bucket list in terms of bands that still play,
Tara, who else is on your list?
Besides Madness.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm like, besides Madness, I guess like contemporary wise, I would love to open for the Interrupters.
Yes,
would be cool. I think it could be like, it could be a fit. I think.
Talk it into reality.
Yeah, as I'm saying, we're like manifesting things right now, right? So I'd love to play with the Skins. I would love to play with I'd love to do like something more directly with our friends Catbite, and it's kind of a hoop dream, but like it would be so cool to like play with Dancehall Crashers. That's just like I know that can't happen, but like if we're just like throwing things out into the universe, like all those people exist, like if they ever came back, like
I mean, if we're really gonna go crazy, let's say No Doubt.
or the hippos.
The hippos would be number one, but that's never gonna happen.
It will never happen, but like if we're just throwing it out there, yeah, so those are some ones. And like also contemporaries, like I would really like to play with Bad Operation. They're on our label. I'm a huge Bad Operation fan, and I would love to play with that.
Well, we did play with them. We did play with them already, but
When?
but in September at the Glass House at the Knitting Factory. But Dom, the singer,
right.
wasn't. Yeah, Britt from
but
Catbite was filling in, so it was like Bad
that's right.
Operation, but with Britt as the singer, which was
it
awesome.
was light, yeah.
But it wasn't the full Bad Operation experience.
Right.
Yeah. So, and I would really like to do like a big Bad Time show, like for our label, because they had all these big shows last year, and it made me a little jealous that like we came on the label at the tail end of their big like Bad Time tour thing, because it looks like so much fun. But yeah, so
we missed the 5 year. We'll be there for the 10 year.
Yeah, Dance Hall Crashers, if you want to come back, like Half Past 2 wants to open for you.
Karina and Elise, Junior, just for context, you saw We Are the Union, which Reed, who worked with them on their album, is in the group. They opened We Are the Union opened for Slackers a couple years ago downtown.
Yes,
with Jeremy, the trombonist from Scott Two Network. Junior was extremely impressed by Jeremy's talent on stage.
Jerry is
downtown LA.
Oh yes, really and truly, no kidding.
Yes.
Very talented.
Very talented.
Yes.
Good segue into this. Who are some of the underrated or maybe bands that you all have discovered that you think more should know about? I know, Tara, you had mentioned that you wish there was even more new bands on the scene, but are there any that you've either discovered, whether it's in SoCal here or beyond, overseas, or anyone that you think that people should take notice of?
It seems weird because normally I would just like talk about a lot of the bands that are on Bad Time, but like that now it's my label, so now maybe this seems like a little strange, but like Bad Time has a lot of really great contemporary ska bands. Catbite obviously is the name on everybody's lips, and they are exactly what everybody's saying. They're wonderful, they're great. I love Bad Operation. I think they're one of the finest new ska outfits, and I'm trying to think of like other bands that aren't on Bad Time so that it doesn't look like I'm just talking about Bad Time bands, but I'm a big fan of their roster, so there's that. I guess I'm having a hard time. Well, I mean, I like the Steady 45s a lot. I know we talked about them earlier, but I am a big Steady 45s fan. I think that like in SoCal in general, like Steady 45s are like top of the pyramid. So yeah, if there's like any sort of, if there was a hierarchy, I know we're all friends here and everything.
But
I think
musicians don't usually talk about other musicians like that, so that's
I know. That's what I'm saying. Like I don't want to sound like weird or whatever, but yeah, I think that they are the pinnacle of like what we have going for us right now, like contemporary wise. Yeah. Like I'll tell people about Steady 45 so my face turns blue, like when they want to talk.
And you wouldn't be lying or calling their name in vain, because I see musician legends come here, they want to steal them.
Yes, they're so good. They're amazing. They're so great.
Yeah, they're on another level.
When I saw them in LA, like they were like, we should do something together. I'm like, yeah, we should. Yeah, totally. I would love to. Yeah. I didn't want to seem too eager, but I was very eager. I was like, yes, let's do it. Let's do it. But yeah, I don't know, Max, what do you think? I mean, I probably said like
this is like inspired by the show that I was talking about earlier. Like our friends, Hooray for Our Side, they don't do a lot, and but I've always wished that they would do more, because they're a genuinely great band. They write great music. Evan, the lead singer, is an amazing singer. They haven't put out any new music in a long time, but they are just a very good band, and I And I think that they should put more into it, and then they would find more of an audience if that's what they want to do.
Yeah.
I just was reminded of the seeing that, and I'm like singing along to all their songs. I'm like, yeah, I actually do really love these songs. I do love this band, and they're one of those local bands that that was like us. Like we were just like them for a long time. Like we didn't branch out a lot, and no shade on them. Like they're doing what they're doing. Everyone's doing what they want to do, what they can do, whatever, however it plays out. But what they've put out, I think, is great. It's just not a lot, and not anything in quite a while. But
and they've been around. They've been around for a minute.
oh yeah, they've been around since 2012 or 10 or something. So they've been around for a long time too.
Right.
There's also a band in, I was looking at the Scaffolders. They play more traditional, and they don't get any recognition or respect.
Right.
Which I think
these
Scaffolders, and I think it's extremely unfortunate.
Are they from SoCal? Are they
They're
from
from
LA?
SoCal.
OC from Orange County.
Oh, really?
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
First time I heard about
Oh.
them.
Yeah, they
And they play the upright bass.
right.
Okay.
Yeah,
Uprights,
man.
yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, they're really great.
Yeah, I'm surprised you guys haven't
Now,
seen.
yeah,
Yeah.
now I'm embarrassed that I haven't even.
No, that's all
Well,
right.
well, they're not that extremely active as they should
Yeah,
be.
I've only seen them once, but yeah,
Right.
they're making some waves.
Mhm.
So let's now go back to the beginning. You briefly touched on this, but talk about how you first linked up with Aaron Barrett of Real Big Fish, and how that relationship, right, and working together started.
Yeah, there's a burger place across the street from where we went to high school called Volcano Burger. And if you go to Los Al, if you live in Los Al, you love Volcano Burger. And it's good. It's great. It's not just like one of those things where if you're from there, you like it, because we take people there and they love it too. So Aaron went to high school. He graduated like 11 years before us. So we weren't there at the same time or anything. But he was eating there, and one of our two original trombone players went to have lunch there, and like, hey, Aaron Barrett, you're here. Well, and he asked him if he would take our demo. And Aaron, this is something that Aaron doesn't get enough credit for, but like he will, if he ever receives a demo, he'll listen to 3 songs. Like he will actually listen to it, and he will listen to at least 3 songs. And he took our demo, and he did, and he found us on and he contacted us on MySpace, and he said, hey, I want to produce your EP. And then we went from there, and then he produced our EP, and then we got to open with them, and then we got to go on a 4-day tour with them, and it just went from there. And like, honestly, we probably wouldn't be here without him, because that really gave us a jump start in close to when we really were starting to be more active, and got us out in front of a lot of people and gave us a taste of what we could be doing. And so yeah, I give a lot of credit to him, and he's
And
like
Volcano Burger.
Yeah, and Volcano Burger. But like Aaron, like seriously, like he just doesn't, a lot of times Real Big Fish gets a bad rap because they get blamed for like the goofiness of third wave ska and making ska a joke or whatever. But the reality is they've always been a great band, and Aaron is a lover of ska music, and he's always been bringing smaller bands and promoting smaller bands, and like, hey, come do shows with us. Like, he is a promoter of the ska scene and the ska world. So
how long have Half Past Two been around when your bandmates ran into Aaron?
It was only a couple months after our first show, but we'd been practicing. So the band started in high school under a different name. Tara wasn't in it. I started it, and we did that for a couple years, starting in 2004. So we actually just a couple of months ago, we passed the 20th anniversary of that. So I celebrated the 20th anniversary of the first ska show I ever played, and I've been doing it for 20 years. And then it was the summer of 2006 when we transitioned into Half Past Two and taking it more seriously. So it was about a 10 months after we made that transition that we ran into Aaron and we
had the
recorded,
demo.
had the demo, and we
Right.
recorded that EP in August or September of 2007. So
So in addition to Aaron, who else would you credit for or like to give thanks to over the years, for people that have really had your back, so to speak, and been influential?
Number one, David
Irish
Irish.
David Irish is our
He's our
biggest
biggest cheerleader.
He he has supported us through every iteration. The door has always been open at Pot of Gold Studios. Like, it just feels like a home.
Like I have a key. I have a key to the studio. I'm one of only a few people that's allowed to have a key. So, and also shout out to Megan Dulce, formerly Megan Christie. She's from the band Chase Long Beach, and we also went to high school with her. She was a senior when I was a freshman. We were both in marching band together.
Oh, nice.
And she was like kind of Aaron and Dave had produced Chase Long Beach's record before ours, and so she became friends with them, and and we were all friends. So she came in and helped, do stuff on our first EP, and then she on our first full length album, she was kind of like a co-producer. She played trumpet on that album. So yeah, she's been involved in every Half Past Two like major release until except for the newest one.
Okay.
She's been at least part of something, producing, co-producing, playing, helping out here and there. So definitely Megan's a big part of the DNA of the history of the band also.
Let me respectfully remind you that when you signed that big contract, to keep her in mind.
You have to remember all of these people that have supported us over the years. I want to say, this is so mushy, but like Max and David, the three of us are like the last like original members. So I don't think we could have done it without each other. We have not always been friends like in this band through the years, but we've held it together, and that's the longevity of it right there.
I'm repeating and emphasizing congratulations for staying around for 2 decades, almost 2 decades.
Right. No.
Yeah, and like it's through like the silliest times of our life too, right? Like your your teenage years and and being, in your 20s and stuff. It's amazing that your band can come out the end. So
lots of bands do not make it this far. Tara, you'd referenced family and children. So how do you balance, right, as you prepare to go on the road, and probably a lot, well, maybe not a lot, but more of that in the future, right? How do you prepare to balance that? And Max, maybe you're a father as well.
I'm not. I have no ties to anyone.
No, me and David both have kids and are married and stuff like that. And I have always like being in this band, being a performer, a singer is like, it's just part of like my DNA. I don't know who I would be without this. Yeah. That's why it was so scary when I was like, I'm going to quit. Because I was just like, what do I do with myself? What do I do with my hands? Because I've been like singing since, since I could walk. And I've been in this band for most of my adult life now at this point. And I've known these guys since I was in middle school. So, since it's such a big deal to me, like when I met my husband, when we were first dating, like this was all part of it. It was all part of the recipe. So he has always been super supportive of me. This is like a totally new thing, the touring thing, but he actually used to be a professional snowboarder. So like he has this thing in his head about how like he just knows that like sometimes there are things that maybe other people would consider not important or silly or whatever, and like it's just something you have to do. That's awesome. Even when I was pregnant, people were telling me, oh, this is the end for you. Like, you're not going to keep doing this. Like, you're like, now that you're having kids, like, that's it. They were just like writing me off. But yeah, I've always just like really like raged or sort of against that. And with my family like totally supporting me, my husband's like, I mean, I'm a dad, it's fine. Like, I can take care of the kids while you're gone or whatever. So that's a nice feeling to not feel guilty to like want to do this. I really couldn't do it without my parents and my husband and stuff. Yeah, I have a good support system at home for my kids. My husband, he's an adult, he can take care of himself, all that good stuff. So yeah.
And this, one person that I admire tremendously is Marcia Griffiths. I'm not sure if you're familiar. You're familiar with her? She one of the original members of the I3, and she's one of the best jugglers from what I've read. Having kids, being on the road with Bob Marley, and juggling her own individual career.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
One of the best.
Impressive.
Yeah, it doesn't mean other people haven't done it successfully and extremely well.
Right. It can be done. It can be done.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
I just think that like, people have that mentality in their head that like maybe it's because they had a dream that was like sort of like squashed or something like that. But they just think that, like
right.
once you get married or something, or like once you have kids, like of course your priorities change. Sure. Right. I'm not saying your priority, they do mean the world to me and all that stuff. But like but this
has been done.
Yes. This is just something that I do.
Been done in your case.
Yeah, like it's just something that I do, and I hope that other people, to like maybe somebody else is like inspired by that. I am not tooting my own horn. I'm a very good mom. I'm a good wife, all those things, but music is like super duper important to a lot of people.
And I think women should be commended and supported to continue their
there are so many guys like it. I see it all the time. I see it all the time.
Female artists who have kids and get married, and you don't hear about them again.
Yeah, that's true. That's true too. But that's because I'm saying like I don't think that a lot of women get the support that they need to pursue these sorts of things or like continue these things, when I see the opposite all the time. I see a lot of guys that have families at home and they're out on the road, they're doing their thing, they're playing their music. So, I think but it takes a really strong like spouse, I think, to support something like this, because if you're not making the big bucks, like I said, does it make a lot of sense? Right. Maybe not. But if you can see the value and the passion and stuff behind it, then that's all you need.
Do you remember when your kids first saw you perform?
My son went to his first 2:30 show actually like a week ago, like our record release show. He didn't make it. Like he fell asleep before we even played. He's 5. And it was a very overwhelming experience for him. But my daughter goes to our shows all the time, and it's funny because she goes to a lot of our bigger shows. She went to see the Aquabats and she went to go see the show with Save Ferris, and she has a disability, and so she uses a power chair, and so I always get her special ADA accommodations and stuff. So when she goes to like all these other shows, she went to our show 2 weeks ago, or she thought that she was going to be getting her own booth with the waitress that comes and like serves you popcorn and Shirley Temples. And she was like, Mom, where's my box? I'm like, no, this isn't that kind of show, but like that's what they think. That they're thinking that like they're getting she still had all access and stuff, but she was just like, no, I'm used to like having a butler basically. Like serving me. I'm like, no, honey, like it's not like that. Meanwhile, when I was like 12 and 13, I'm going to like, a closet show. Like it
And you're
smells. The
fortunate you
bathroom
had
is.
an older aunt who took you.
Right.
A lot of kids
Yes.
your age never had the opportunity, right?
Yes, that's true. That's true. Yeah, and it's my fault for taking her to like the sort of like posh.
Hey, your mom
The
is
posh shows, but yeah, she's my kid, and I want her to have the best of everything.
Yes, why not?
Yeah, eventually she'll get to go to those shows, and they love it. My daughter actually has been singing my music. I run a Girl Scout troop too, and my Girl Scouts have been telling me ever since the new album came out, I've been listening to Half Past Two, or they'll ask me, "What's your favorite Half Past Two song to sing?" I'm like, like all of a sudden, why are you listening to my music? It's so strange.
What that's
Fantastic.
a big compliment. And
It is.
and the new album again is Talk Is Killing Me. I'm
So one more time,
I'm redeeming
Max.
myself.
Mhm.
There we go.
There it is.
There you go.
Bad Time Record.
Ragtime Records.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
All right. I guess we're nearing our destination. Any parting words for your fans and relatives and friends and fellow musicians?
Anything we did not touch on? Obviously, we can go on and on, but
Yeah, no, I think we touched on it all. I mean, I just want to say thank you. I mean, to you two, for having the program, for having, your presence, like ska scene's so important to so many people. I'm super grateful for fans, and obviously our family and friends for supporting us and letting us do this for almost 2 decades. But yeah, that's what I think.
Yeah, I guess going back to the previous part, we're talking about the thank yous. I should thank my mom too, because she's also been like our biggest fan for the entire time, and she's been one of our biggest supporters. So I'm gonna shout out my mom also. And yeah, thank you to everyone. It's even at that, again, going back to that show I was at last week, someone came up who was at our record release show the week before, and she was saying so many nice things, and I'm like, oh my God, like, thank you so much. Like
Anything you can share with us?
Oh, she was saying that just that the new album, like she really connected with the lyrics, and that the phrase that stuck with me is she said it heals her soul. And I was like, and I said that means so much to me. And she was very inspired by Tara as well. Tara couldn't make it to the show, but I said I would pass along the message. She was saying Tara was inspiring as a mother, doing all these things, just like she's been talking about. Like, it was so sweet. And it's really special. It's very special. So thank you to everyone, whether you say something or not. Like, thank you.
Well, thanks to both of you for sitting through this interview. You could be doing so many other things, so we thank you.
Yeah,
for your patience.
And really big congratulations on the new album, and best of luck out on tour. And we'll see you at a show at some point soon.
Thank you guys for including our style of ska music.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yes, thank you.
Student learning from Eric. He's the mastermind. Well,
yes.
Additionally, we want to thank everyone for your support, and please subscribe to this podcast series and our YouTube channel. Follow at History of LA Ska on Instagram and join our Facebook group. This series is produced by Rockery Radio, of course, and Eric's guidance and leadership.
And Junior, thank you very, very much for all you do. Max, Tara, give our best to the rest of the Half Past Two crew. And again, thank you both so much. Best of luck. And we do want to say, please get out and celebrate, preserve, and promote the scene. And come out, put on your dancing shoes, and enjoy yourself. And much love and respect to everyone. Until next time.
And when you guys perform, tell young people to come out and learn how to play music.
All the generations out.
Yep.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Music alive and vibrant.
Yes.
You can count on us.
We need more young people.
We do.
To carry on the baton.
Indeed. All right. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye now.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.